Holy smokes. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football. We're definitely going to cover this because we love everything in college football. If you do as well, please subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this channel, this Rebel Outpost channel of college football, hit the dollar sign, make a comment in a super chat, and we'll get to it as fast as possible. Welcome into the corner. Welcome into the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway, Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid, not today. Do not be afraid to be a legend. With your comments and with your phone calls, we're going to open up the phone lines as soon as possible. The great Nick Saban, the greatest of all time, is retiring. First broke by Chris Lowe of ESPN. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel because we're going to be going to X. We're going to be looking at all the comments, the reports during this live show. I got to tell you something. Couple things here personally. I was setting up for a live show. I was working. I just put out episode 357. After this live show, go check it out. Pretty interesting. Oregon State, Washington State, Mountain West. Door A, Door B. What will Washington State and Oregon State choose? Check it out. We just released it, I don't know, about 30 minutes ago. I was starting to work on another live show, another angle to something. Had to push it all aside. I'm scrambling in the studio, and here's another personal item. I've told you this before. My mother, 90 years old, Maxine Roney Pflugar the black-haired Irish beauty who loves college football, pass the passion down to myself. Her favorite team isn't Minnesota. Nah. She's lived in Minnesota her whole life, but her team isn't Minnesota. It's Alabama. Ask her why. She doesn't know. Who's her favorite coach? Nick Saban. So before I came on live, she's in bed. I told her, Nick Saban. I tell you, my mother lost her husband of 68 years. And now, just this September, now she's losing Nick Saban. Anyways, just on a personal note, Nick Saban retiring, the great, the GOAT, the greatest of all time in this modern world. College football is changing so drastically. I completely understand what. Now, I don't know the reasons. Maybe it'll come out. It doesn't matter. He's done it all. Changing world. I felt Alabama was slipping. I've been saying that for the last year. They have been slipping. They were still great. They still made the college football playoffs. I did not agree with the Tommy Rees thing, but whatever. Look, he's the greatest of all time. Bear Bryant, sure. Woody Hayes, yeah. Name him. Just go ahead and name him. Newt Rockne, go ahead and name him. But for me, in this world, Nick Saban is the greatest of all time. So before we go on any further, congratulations to Nick Saban. Congratulations, wife, family, loved ones, everywhere he's gone. Congratulations to the GOAT, Nick Saban. Job well done. Not only winning conference championships, national championships, but for bringing up young boys, making them great men. Year after year after year, your student athletes, your players, they love you, Nick Saban. They absolutely love you. Job well done. Unbelievable. Let me get to the first super chat rolling in. He will be a hard coach to follow. I wonder how many players will leave. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jim Bagley. We're going to open up the phone lines. Obviously, I did not have this planned out. I was having something else. We're going to have to do that later. So we're going to open up the phone lines. I want to get all your comments and thoughts about Nick Saban. What's going to happen to Alabama? Hard coach to follow. Oh, yeah. And, look, things are going to change here. Texas A&M, the money thing, Oklahoma, Texas, even the big top Big Ten valued schools, maybe a couple other, they're going to be able to compete with Alabama more on a level playing field than over the last 10, 15 years. I think we can all agree with that. Man, who, let me just ask you. Let me just ask the PATC community right out. Who is the favorite to replace Nick Saban? Is it Dabo Swinney? I don't know, man. I don't know. Dabo still hasn't quite put his arms around the modern college football world and how we're playing in it. I don't think it's going to be Dabo. I think a lot of you are going to probably disagree with me. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't even have a favorite right now. Maybe I will get a favorite by the end of the show. Let me know who you think in phone calls, in the chat. Patrick, Nick Saban equals Tom Brady, but as a coach. I agree. Saban just never got caught cheating. Well, he didn't, but the results are the results. Thank you so much, Jim Bagley, for your super chat. I appreciate it so very much. This is It's stunning. It's not, but it is. That sort of thing. Obviously, Twitter, X, is just blowing up. Absolutely blowing up. He's 29, 297 wins, 71 losses, 1 tie, 7 national championships, 11 SEC championships, 1 MAC championship, 5 times SEC Coach of the Year, 2-time Paul Bear Bryant Award winner, 2-time Walter Camp Coach of the Year, 2-time AP Coach of the Year, the greatest of all time, Nick Saban. We're posting. I'm gonna show you guys. I'll get to your comments. We're gonna open up the phone lines. We're just, you know how it is. It's live YouTube, live TV. We're scrambling here. Pete Thamel is somebody. Let me pop this up a little bit better so you guys can see it. Hold on. Pete Thamel, with no likely internal replacements at Alabama, and I agree with that. Here's a quick projected target list. Dan Lenny, Kalen DeBoer, Dabo Swinney, James Franklin, Mike Norvell, Marcus Freeman. All come with complications and big buyouts, as it's difficult to move entrenched coaches. The big buyout thing, I don't think that's going to be a hurdle for Alabama. If there's somebody they want, really want, and that person wants to come on in, they're going to buy the buyout. That's not an issue. Come on. Look at the name. Now, Pete Thamel is somebody that I listen to very closely on everything. But when it comes, and we've talked about it before, on coaching carousels, Pete Thamel is the guy I listen to. His Rolodex is filled with agents' names. He's got connections. So I would take this list very, very seriously. If you're an Oregon Duck, you love Dan Lenny, you better take notice. If you're a Washington Husky, you love Kalen DeBoer, you better take notice. If you're a Clemson, you better take notice. Penn State, you better take notice. Florida State, you better take notice. Notre Dame, oh, you better take notice. You better take notice on Marcus Freeman. I ain't saying, but I'm just saying. Those are, and again, I'm going to bet against Dabo. He's probably going to be the favorite in the chat room. I understand. Great success. Clemson, give him the resources at Alabama. But with those names, I'm going to go ahead and, with those names, Marcus Freeman, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell, Dan Lenny, holy smokes. Wow. And then Kirk Bowles makes a good tweet here. Texas Longhorns guy. I don't know anyone with a great job who would want to follow Nick Saban. That's also true. That's also a good point. Okay, let's get back to your comments here. We're going to open up the phone lines. Open up the phone lines. Pretty No Girl thinks it's Dabo. The Seminoles think it's Dabo. The Clemson Tigers think it's Norvell. I think this is, look, David Griffin says Dan Lennon is the odds-on favorite in my book, SEC Roots. That is correct. Very, very good point by David Griffin. Very good point. CFB playoff edits, holy crap. That was basically what I said. Maggie knows, don't say Norvell, Greg. Don't you dare. Thank you, Jamie. I did see it. The Big Lubbock. The Big Lubbock. The Big Lubbock. Jimbo Fisher is available. Chris Hughes, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate your generosity. Finally, our long nightmare is over as a Vols fan. Volunteers fan, I think a lot of people can hold that opinion, especially Tennessee. Thank you, Chris, for the super chat. I appreciate your generosity. Yeah, I mean, look, and then, Alabama. It's impossible to replace Nick Saban. You're going to take a step back as a program. Short term, my question to the PATC community, short term, does Alabama lose players in the portal? We're just talking short term here. Long term is more important. But these Alabama players, not only the high school, everybody, they've got a 30-day window to go in the portal. Right? They don't know who the next head coach is going to be. It's probably not going to be an internal candidate. Tommy Rees, he's going to be looking for a new job. Again, not impressed with Tommy Rees, but I guess for whatever reason, he continues to be a big name in the offensive coordinator position. I have no idea why, but he's going to be now sought after. Jamie says Bama will lose players. Players will leave for sure. Alex Grinch would be Bama's new defensive coordinator. Great point here by Lorenzo Haynes. Oregon better pay their guy now. Them and Washington. They're working with the Kalen DeBoer, right? Dan Lenny, Kalen DeBoer. I think Lanny's probably more of a favorite to go to for Alabama to be interested in because he has SEC roots. Jay Chapman, looks like Oklahoma and Texas are joining the SEC at the perfect time. Great comment. Great comment, Mr. Chapman. Holy smokes. We're going to open up the phone lines. I do not have a monologue ready for this. How would I possibly have a monologue ready for this? We came on live as soon as possible. I want to get your comments. This is it, man. This is the greatest of all time, and he's retiring. The phone line, 763-260-1333. What do you think? What do you think? Nick Saban. Who's going to replace him? What is it going to do with Alabama? What is your best or worst memory of Nick Saban? Give us a call. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. Not everyone wants to coach at Bama. Good comment. And, boy, it's going to be difficult to follow Nick Saban. But you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid big time. You're going to be going to a school that invests everything in their football program. Be hard to turn down.
Call from
Jamie Thornton.
Jamie, Mrs. Razorback, Nick Saban, rival SEC, is retiring. Give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. The floor is yours.
Well, as someone as a Razorback fan that didn't beat them in 17 years in a row, I'm definitely not shedding any tears over here. And my wife is sick over here, and it has nothing to do with Nick Saban. So I don't keep a I don't check my social media feed that often, but I went over to Twitter and I sent it to you. I think about 10 minutes before he broke it, or somewhere around there is when I read it. He sent it to me about an hour ago. Chris Lowe did, and said, "Get ready to be shocked because Saban's retiring." And we knew this wasn't going to go on forever.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point the guy's going to call it quits. I think a lot of people thought he would try to wait and win that 7th championship. But there's just no guarantees. I mean, especially now, I think he really did it for himself at the right time. I mean, let's just face it, a 12-team playoff, it's going to get a lot tougher to win a championship than what it's been.
Yeah.
So, now the fun part of it is all the Alabama fans, right? So, I'm in one of the SEC smack chats, as we call it, and we give each other a hard time over there. So, we've had a lot of fun already with them. But, yeah, so Lanning, Dabo is what I asked Chris. I said, who, obviously the big ones. But he said the ones I would look at, Dabo, obviously an Alabama guy, played at Alabama, Lanning, and Norvell. So I don't see many coaches that are going to be I don't see too many of those guys. I mean, all of them obviously have great jobs, but this is Alabama, and you're talking about the tradition and so forth. It's going to be interesting. Now, it could obviously, he said that's just early. We're way too early to know for sure.
Oh yeah.
But that's obviously the names already being floated around.
Yeah.
And, I think without a doubt,
I don't think Alabama would have ever even told an agent before this news came out, before Nick Saban could talk to his players and stuff. They wouldn't disrespect him like that. So this has just begun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is going to hurt. I mean, you're going to have definitely players, and probably quite a few that are going to leave. I mean, this is going to, anybody that thought Alabama had a chance next year, they're going to have a down year next year. There's not going to be any question about it. Now, on top of that, all those coaches, really, if it is one of those three, they're a different style coach anyway than Saban. So, they're going to want to get their players in there, and obviously, if it is somebody like that, if it is a Dabo, or if it is a Lanning, or if it is a Norvell, they're going to get their guys in there pretty quick, and I don't think it'll take them that long to succeed. But the next year or two, I wouldn't count, maybe not even 2 years, but definitely not next year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun to see where these guys are going to go. I mean, there's a lot of coaches, a lot of big schools licking their lips right now.
Yeah.
They know, that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
And with NIL and everything else, yeah, what's happening right now. So,
I
but
appreciate
man, this college football season, Greg, I'm telling you, starting from last year, I'm telling you, it's like it never dies, man. The news is just crazy.
Yep. Thank you, Jamie.
Right,
we got a lot of calls coming in. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Greg.
Great call.
Call from
Tristan Dietz.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the first name. Jonathan? Hello.
What'd you say?
What's your name? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, my name's Tristan.
Okay, Tristan, thank you for calling again. Appreciate it. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, bub, anytime, man.
Appreciate your patience. Tony, my sources are telling me Tim Brewster is a lock. Your sources probably need to be institutionalized. Thank you for your super chat, Tony. I appreciate it. Cameron B., what tsunami happens if Harbaugh leaves for the NFL? We did an early peak episodes for this morning for early peak members. We put some information in there. If you're an early peak member, if you haven't watched it yet, go take a listen. If you had not a member yet, sign up, hit the join button. And we are in a situation here where we do have another level of membership for $4.99, where if you become a member, you can offer gift memberships for the whole PATC community. Tristan, I appreciate your patience. The floor is yours. Thanks for the super chat, guys.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Big time fan here. I was just thinking, so I really think, the best bet for Alabama, especially coming off, this loss to our great community, we got to follow it with a great coach. And I think either, Big Ed Ogeron, I know he got the controversy behind him, but, he did provide a great team at LSU, got great recruits, and did something special with that team. Or I was thinking, maybe we get call up big old what's his face from the Raiders. What was his name? What was his name?
I don't know, man. What about Lane Kiffin?
No, I got it. Mr. John Gruden. Yeah, I know controversy behind him, but I mean, man, something about those guys, they're just so trustworthy and they're just something. I think Deion is a horrible pick for this team. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's too much flashiness. That's not Tuscaloosa, man. We're blitz, Bama blitz. Here to win some football, not put chains on all our players and do a bunch of that crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not going to work. Deion's not going to be in Tuscaloosa. What about Lane Kiffin?
I pray to God.
What about Lane Kiffin? Did a great job. Offensive coordinator. Learned a lot under Nick Saban. That passing offense. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's a good pick, but I mean, look, can't argue with Ed and his great recruits. But I mean, I don't got much more to say than that. I think we either go with Ed or we go with Big John Gruden over in Tuscaloosa. I mean, that's Bama football right there, hard-nosed football, and that's what we like. Blitz, Bama, blitz.
You got it. I appreciate the phone call. Beautiful. Call again, sir.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, I love the stream, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. The phone lines are lighting up. 763-260-1333. The Evil Badger weighs in. Ryan Willie. College football has passed by Saban, just like the NFL has passed by Pete Carroll, and Belichick. That happens, especially in the college football world that's changing so much, and he's older, absolutely.
Call from
Anthony Magano.
Anthony, can you hold 1 second? Can you hold 1 second, please?
Yes.
I appreciate it. I just want to thank Ryan Willie for the super chat, and Cameron B, Tony, Chris Hughes, and Jim Bagley. I really haven't taken time to say thank you. I just wanted to say thank you. Okay, the floor is yours. What do you got to say, sir?
Hi, this is Anthony. Hi, Greg. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Anthony?
Honestly, this is going to be a new generation of college football. I'm sad that Saban is going, but I kind of agree with Ryan a little bit in the super chat that the game has passed Nick by a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think, and honestly, can you see them? I understand he just got the coaching job in Miami, but can you see Alabama trying to bring back Mario to Bama?
No.
Bring back Mario to Bama.
I don't think so. I'm going to rule him out here at Peek Around the Corner. Mario Cristobal is not a good recruiter, but no, I don't think he's got the chops. He hasn't shown in-game coaching that he's got the chops to be the head coach in Tuscaloosa. That is just my strongly held opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, someone in the chat brought up John. Not every coach can become a good college coach. I don't think John Gruden has the patience, to be honest, to deal with recruiting, because that's a 24/7 job, and I don't think he can do that, to be honest. Like, a guy like John Gruden is an NFL coach. I don't think he has – it's not the patience. I don't think he has the recruiting is a 24/7 job. Do you agree?
Yep. Now it is. Yeah, you got to recruit your own players just as much as – go ahead.
Yeah. Guys like Gruden and Belichick, just because they're great NFL coaches doesn't mean that can translate to college, because I don't think they want to be on the road. They want to be spending time with family. And coaching in college is a whole different animal than the NFL. And I don't think John Gruden wants to be dealing with with high school kids going into college, because and I understand why people are saying John Gruden, because his personality, he would be control of whatever he wants. He doesn't have to deal with general managers or owners and stuff like that, but his personality is an NFL type personality. I don't think his personality can work in college football because of the fact that the controversies too. Like, I like John Gruden. Maybe Jay, his brother, might work in college because he's more offensive. John is more a defensive coach, but I don't think Kirby or Dabo leave. What is it called? Leave Clemson or Georgia.
Yeah.
The guy I can see doing that, maybe jumping ship because the Bama job just opened, maybe Sarkisian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Ryan Day.
I don't think Ryan Day's a candidate. I don't think Kirby Smart's a candidate.
How about Franklin in Penn State?
Pete Thamel mentioned him, so you have to consider it. I don't think Tuscaloosa
or Lincoln Riley, maybe.
Nope, I don't think so.
Is there that's the issue? After maybe they want to promote from within.
Nope.
Maybe there's guys that
I don't think so.
recommended to them when he retired.
Yeah, I don't think so. I would keep your eyes on what Pete Thamel's reporting. He does have James Franklin on that list, but he's Kalen DeBoer, Dan Lanning. I would throw Lane Kiffin in there. Dabo Sweeney.
Well, this is an honest question. Could a guy like the guy who used to be the coach at could a guy like Chip Kelly work in Alabama, or his personality doesn't fit the Bama?
I'm not buying that either. Nope. I'm not buying it.
No.
But thanks for the phone call. We got a lot of calls to get through here.
Have a good day.
Appreciate
Have
it.
a good day.
Great call. Thank you so very much. You know, the thing is Pete Thamel listed a bunch of possible candidates, but you know, every big-time agent's giving Pete Thamel a call saying, could be my guy, it could be my guy. There's an interesting tweet here by a New York Post writer who follows entertainment, TV, media, contracts, and everything. He puts out a tweet. Even if he winds up working for them as a broadcaster, Nick Saban leaving Alabama is a big blow to ESPN leading into their first season with exclusive SEC rights. Interesting comment.
Call from
Immaculate,
Mr. Hawkeye. Holy smokes. I was setting up for a live show, but it wasn't going to be this. What is your, what are you feeling right now? What are you thinking? Floor is yours.
Man, I thought the convention was going to be the big story of the day, but what convention?
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
This is huge. This is going to have ramifications across, the way everyone now is going to be talking to their coaches, trying to get them some money to say no. I would take DeBoer off the list. I mean, does he have any experience at all down in the
I
SEC?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that's at all. I think Lanning and Dabo are number one, number two.
I will say this though. I've been thinking about Kalen DeBoer, and Nick Saban went after his offensive coordinator, Grubb.
Oh yeah.
And it might be where, Kalen DeBoer bring Grubb with them to Tuscaloosa, and that's who Alabama, so with that, you know what I'm saying? I can see,
Yeah.
I can see that potentially happening.
Yeah. I mean, I've been talking with people here at Iowa who are like, oh, we'll get Grubb. I'm like, that's a lateral move. It's not going to happen. It maybe isn't even lateral from Washington to Iowa. But if DeBoer was to go to Alabama and offer Grubb to come with him, and let's be honest, they're going to roll out the Brinks truck for this move. I don't. We saw what Texas A&M did, and all they ended up getting was, the Duke coach. I mean, Alabama is going to want to make sure to get the guy they want. The only guy I think that's on the list that is not going to be available is Sarkisian. He's just built up Texas. That is a blue blood program with everything you could possibly want supporting you.
Yeah.
And now at this point in time, you're looking at that saying, do I want to go and just start over? It's not starting over, but, for him, whereas now he's got everything rolling at Texas, and now Alabama's going to be starting over with a new coach. I think that if you're Sarkisian, you're sitting back and you're grinning wide.
Yeah.
You're not leaving. You might turn this into getting more money from Texas, but that's about it. But I think if I'm Dabo, I'm already on the phone. I'm already sending my agent and saying, because with all this going on with the ACC and where's Clemson going to go, I think I'm getting the hell out of there right now.
Oh yeah, Dabo's got to be very interested, no question about it.
If I'm Dabo, I'm already halfway to Alabama on the road, flying 200 miles an hour if my car will go that fast.
Yeah. CFB playoff edits in the chat says Dabo was the wide receiver at Bama from 1990 to 92. And he hasn't really grasped he hasn't really hugged the world of NIL. We're going to get in this world where super trust funds are going to be created. Well, we'll find out. We haven't seen what happened at the convention today, but I got to imagine that eventually it's going to happen. Something like that's going to happen. So NIL is always going to be important, but the trust fund is going to become more important. What university, what athletic department is going to have the bigger trust funds?
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama's going to have a gigantic one. So,
and folks in chat are talking about how he doesn't embrace the portal. If he's at Alabama, does he really have to?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
that's a good point.
And you don't even have to embrace it. Like, guys are just going to be like, I want to come to Alabama.
Yeah, okay, and they're going to have that trust fund, which is going to be different than NIL.
Yeah, it's an entirely different game where you're fighting to maintain at Clemson versus at Alabama. Everything you could possibly want.
I wonder about Lane Kiffin, though. I think he would be interested. I think he's gettable. I think Nick Saban really enjoyed him. It took 2 years of development, but I don't know. Nick Saban, he's retiring, right? He's probably going to have a decent sized influence on who they target first. Wouldn't you think?
Yes, but here's the thing. Kiffin is a great guy for him to have as his coordinator. He can control him, run him. But do you want to hand the reins to Kiffin at Alabama? I mean, look, Kiffin has done a tremendous job at almost not taking anything away, but Alabama and the culture there and kind of with the hijinks that you see from Kiffin, I just don't know if they really want that to be the next one after Saban. Now, if maybe the next one was to come in and not do well, then they'd be like, bring in Kiffin. But I don't know. That's a tough sell. I definitely think so, but I think I would lean Dabo over Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
Just for he just seems a little bit more like an Alabama guy. The long shot is Lanning, but what experience does he really have? Whereas his experience is not going to line up to Dabo. I mean, Dabo's got championships underneath him.
Yeah.
Dabo's been there, done that. Like, I mean, if you're looking at saying, man, there's some exciting young guys coming up, no doubt, but there's there's risk with that. Like, can they carry that program and all the pressure on that? I mean, I know there's pressure at Oregon, but that is not compared to Alabama.
Pete Thamel just posted on his Twitter page, his X page, buyouts for potential Alabama head coach candidates. Dan Lenny, $20 million. Kalen DeBoer, $12 million. Dabo Sweeney, $7.5 million.
No.
Mike Norvell, $4 million.
And I kind of threw it out kind of as a joke, but also kind of seriously. I mean, Brian Kelly is a guy that shows that he can go from program to program to program and immediately come in and keep it successful. Now, I don't know what his buyout is. I don't even know. But if you're looking for someone to come in and make sure to keep that going and shows like they can win in the SEC and recruit in the SEC, I would at least throw Brian Kelly's name in that. Now, I don't know what his buyout is. And I know Ryan Brooks and Chad is probably hating me for saying it. But I would throw his name up there. I would say Dabo is number one right now, but I would put Kelly in the top 5 if that's even a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All righty, Immaculate. I know we got a lot of phone calls coming in.
I'm sure. Talk to you later.
I appreciate it, Mr. Hawkeye. Thank you so very much. Immaculate, legendary caller. If you just joined us, breaking news. Nick Saban, the greatest of all time, is retiring, coach of Alabama. The ripple effects on this is going to be massive.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas, thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours. What do you think? What are you thinking?
They're dropping like flies, Greg. They're dropping like flies. I mean,
Yeah.
we're a Bill Belichick announcement away from having this turn into a national day of mourning. Yeah, I mean, as far as what goes on, I sent you a link. I saw some other stuff that has some conflicting information on the buyouts for the coaches. I'm not quite sure what to believe, but I would suspect that, Lanning certainly has a pretty significant buyout, and I don't know, Kalen DeBoer at least has this situation opportunity to leverage a little bit more at Washington, and he's got a good thing going. But I think it really comes down, people can't underestimate the good old boy network. Dabo played at Alabama. He knows people there. He's connected with people there. I know he doesn't like the portal, but that doesn't mean he can't change.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean he can't adapt. I mean, if he wants to coach and continue coaching and winning, he's going to have to. And people have to realize that, given what's going on right now with the stratification and the situation of Clemson and FSU trying to get out of the ACC and going to a place for resources. I mean, if you're Dabo and you want to continue winning national titles, Alabama's not too difficult of a place to recruit at, Greg. It's that's not exactly a hard thing to do. And he has connections to people in the area and knows the area and contacts, and he played there. And I certainly think that he would be a good prime target. Now, I know his buyout's sky high, but those folks will fork out for someone that's proven. I mean, 2 national championships out of 3 championship game appearances isn't really a bad record, Greg.
No, it isn't.
And I think that's going to be the only thing that's going to appease the majority of the boosters. Who knows what will happen? I mean, Lane Kiffin, look, he crashed and burned at USC under the pressure. Yeah, he's had some success at Ole Miss, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't think he'll do well at Bama. That's just my thought. Who knows what will happen? But Brian Kelly will probably stay at LSU. I mean, because next to Alabama, the 3 premier programs, who win titles consistently at least once a decade in the SEC are Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. So, I mean, Kelly's got a pretty prime job as it is. So, I mean, I don't think he really needs to worry about, leaving that and, trying to rebuild something. But my wish, though, Greg, you know what my wish is, Greg?
Who? What?
My wish is that Michigan or Alabama hires Kyle Whittingham from Utah so he can take his coaching staff and his players and have the Utah Utes team get decimated in the transfer portal.
Please.
So, so we can once again be restored to our rightful place in the rivalry.
Wow. Holy smokes.
I mean,
Man.
I would love that more than anything because it would just absolutely decimate Utah. And I've got selfish motives, Greg. Selfish motives. I mean, but it's like you're feeling towards if the Badgers had a good coach. If Luke Fickell turned around and got the Badgers to the CFP, you would have no problem wishing him well if he got an opportunity to coach at Alabama or
Absolutely.
Florida or somewhere else. So I mean, I don't see anything wrong with my wish because I'm wishing Kyle Whittingham the best financial success and an opportunity to win a title. By the way, he's 63, but he could get a 5-year deal. I mean, for a guy like that who wants to win a national title, and we're talking about the stratification, Greg, and the resources available. I mean, Michigan and Alabama are pretty darn good spots to have that opportunity. But anyway, that's all I have, Greg.
You
Take
got
care.
it.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Great call. Great call. Phone lines are back open. 763-260-1333. The comments I'm reading from the college football reporters, and I'm trying to post some of them here. This is probably going to lead to its own separate coaching carousel wave. Like, whoever comes in and replaces Nick Saban is going to be coming in from a very good program, a successful program, and then that program is going to go for somebody big. Or, for example, if Dan Lanning goes to Alabama, is Oregon going to hire from an internal? Is there somebody ready to take over the Oregon job right now? Alabama players have 30 days now to enter the portal. 30 days. 30 days. I was going to post something here. Just going to read a little article just to grasp the impact of this. Nick Saban, highest paid NCAA football coach, retiring. The 72-year-old leader is tied for the most national championships of any FBS football coach. He raked in $11.4 million this past year, according to USA Today data, more than any of his peers. $11.4 million. Alabama's going to pay, they're going to pay somebody a whole lot of money. They've got the money. They've got a war chest, and it's going to be very difficult. Whoever Alabama targets, it's going to be so difficult for that person to turn it down. I don't think they will. But I don't know who that target's going to be. Dabo Swinney, former Crimson Tide, Dan Lanning. Marcus Freeman. He is an interesting situation here. Very interesting situation. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think so. Porto and coaching carousels about to go wild. You are correct, Lego Gators. I'm just going to check something real quick here. Okay.
Call from
Nitwit.
Nitwit, thanks for calling. The floor is yours. What are your thoughts on this?
I tell you what, Greg, it's almost like an end of an era.
Yeah,
like
it is.
I remember him coaching against Joe Paterno in Michigan State, and he was a great coach. I think, like you said, he's the best of all time. There's no doubt about it, and mad respect to the Alabama fans out there for the run they had. I'm going to throw a name out there. I don't know. I think that I would assume Coach Saban will have a say in where things go, and I don't think people underestimate the tightness of that coaching tree that he's involved with. I'm just going to throw out Mike Vrabel as the Tennessee coach. I don't know if that's he just got fired by Tennessee in the NFL. I know he doesn't have college experience, but he's probably one of Belichick and Saban's one of those trusted pupils. So he's sitting there for the taking with no buyout. I think some of these other ones, I think Dabo's still going to be at Clemson. I don't think Alabama's going to go with somebody that's just going to come in for 4 or 5 years and then go. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but just wanted to call in, and man, it definitely feels like an end of an era, that this new college football landscape, I think Saban kind of dotted the end of it. He probably, you can tell by the way he was talking, he just didn't like this new college football landscape.
Yeah.
And if you followed some of his press conferences, some of the things that he said about NIL and all that kind of stuff, and I think he has gone in the right time. As somebody as a Penn State fan, I lived through a coach that didn't leave.
Yeah.
Mad respect for Nick, Coach Saban, for leaving on top and leaving a great legacy. So I'll hang up and listen to what you say.
Great
Thanks,
call. Great points. Thank you so much, sir. Nitwit, Penn State guy. Great comment on how Paterno left and how Nick Saban left. Saban left an incredible legacy behind. This is going to seem contradictory, but the college football landscape is changing so drastically. I think it's even harder for an NFL coach to take over the reins, something like Alabama, without being in the college game already. I know that sounds kind of contradictory because college games changing so fast. What does it matter if you bring in an NFL guy? Man, it's very, very difficult to learn all the ropes going in, and for a job like Alabama, I haven't really formulated who's my top 3 yet, but I'm going to stick with a very successful college head football coach who understands the pressures of NIL, boosters, administrators, runs a tight ship, can recruit, can communicate, can bring in a very good college coaching staff, yada, yada, yada. That's what I'm going with. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Dan Lanning. I don't think it's going to be Dabo. Something in my brain says it's not going to be Dabo. And I could look like a complete fool, but I'm not going to put, right now I'm going to put Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, I'm just going to leave those two. Lanning or Lane Kiffin. That is my prediction. Mooncat, Nick Saban, come on home. A lot of Mountaineers want Nick Saban to come on home. He's retiring, though. Can he come in as an advisor, consultant? He's retiring. I don't think he's going to be in the broadcast booth. Is he really going to be in the broadcast booth? I cannot imagine that. He's retired. Come in as a, he can be a part of these broadcasts for ESPN. Just have a little segments now and then. He doesn't want to work anymore. He's got all that money. I don't see him as a broadcaster. Cornelius Green is not easy replacing a coaching legend. Stephen McNeely, early peak member, is in the house. He's in the house. Fake Tom Osborne. Let's get down to the brass tacks, Greg. Fake Tom Osborne, he doesn't joke around. He wants to get to the brass tacks. It's Scott Frost, isn't it? Frost warning incoming. The SEC is going to have to adapt to him. The SEC is going to have to adapt to him. Thank you, Fake Tom Osborne. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so very much. I did not have this lined up. I apologize. There you go. And, we're going to have this. We're going to have this thing again, right? We're going to have this thing play out. Where's Tommy Rees going to go? Oh, everybody wants Tommy Rees as their offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees to Iowa, right? Tommy Rees to Iowa. Holy smokes. I don't know. We're going to have to live through that, I guess. Immaculate. Urban Meyer to Alabama. I don't think so. I think Urban Meyer's done. I don't think he can do it anymore. Don't think he can do it anymore. Joe Dabo got the black eye from the Bama defensive coordinator who was passed over. Jim Tressel, I don't think so. Jimbo Fisher, we already had that one before. Thank you, Fake Tom Osborne, for your generosity to the channel, your continued generosity to the channel. Thank you so very much, kind sir. John Harbaugh to Alabama. Lanning is set up perfectly for 2024. Maybe even better than at Bama. Oh, yeah. Sure. I think that's logical. I think that's correct. But it's just so very hard to turn down Alabama. Oregon has great resources, right? Lanning's from... I think Lanning's got to be Lanning or Lane Kiffin. Those are my top two. 1A, 1B. I don't know which one is 1A, 1B. Joe Connor Stallions to Alabama. You guys are killing me. I think this guy right there, all that flash with the sunglasses, Lane Kiffin coming off the bus. Lane Kiffin or Dan Lanning. I think those are the two horses that PATC is going to go up to the betting window at the PATC Sportsbook that sits on the end of Keith Jackson Parkway at the very end. I'm putting a little bit on Lanning, a little bit on Lane Kiffin. Do a poll, Greg. Okay, let's see. How should I do this? These polls are always yes or no questions, though. So it's kind of hard to do a poll on it's hard to do a poll on this type of question. Hummus Hero think it's Kiffin. T-Duck, $20 million buyout for Lanning. Alabama can't afford it. Alabama can't afford $20 million? They got that behind the seat cushion. Alabama can afford $20 million. That's not going to be a problem. The question is Alabama targeting Lanning number one on their list? But they can afford $20 million. Evil Badger says Kirby. Ooh, Kirby's smart. Derek Edwardson, thanks for coming on in. Deion Sanders to Alabama. I don't think Deion will play in Tuscaloosa. I don't think that will play in Tuscaloosa. Oh, that can't be right. Just heard Saban is going to be signed with Fox. That can't be right. That can't be right. He's got to be, if he's going to do anything, it's with ESPN. Right? If it's anything, it's got to be ESPN. Phone lines are open, 763-260-1333. Live show, PATC. Nick Saban is retiring. The greatest of all time. 7 national championships. 11 SEC championships. Holy smokes. 297 wins. The greatest of all time, Nick Saban. Who's going to replace him? And what's going to happen to the Alabama football program? What's going to happen to the SEC in regards to competition? 16 teams, Texas and Oklahoma coming in. Is Alabama still the top dog, or is it just going to be Georgia now? Georgia at the top with Kirby Smart. Probably. Most likely, right? Alabama, are they going to trickle down, though? Is somebody going to replace Alabama at the number 2 spot in the SEC? It all depends on who they hire, right? Who are they going to hire? LSU won't be too far behind. Yes, you're correct. LSU could grab that number 2 spot. Great comment, Green. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Smash that like button if you like our content. Make sure you get yourself notified. Hit those notifications on because we can come up at live at any time. That's what we did with this live show. I was building up a live show. I had a lot of things to talk about. But then this bomb just dropped. So make sure you turn your notifications on. Subscribe to our channel. If you want to become, a lot of people are asking about Jim Harbaugh, right? We talked about Jim Harbaugh in an early peak members only episode. If you're interested in learning what we believe, what we were told, what was going to happen with Jim Harbaugh, hit the join button. It was dropped this morning, cloak and dagger style. So if you're interested, join. There's a $4.99 level, a $5.99 a month level. Do the $4.99. We're getting rid of the $5.99 eventually. Join with the $4.99 level. And at that level, people can do gift memberships if they're interested to other people in the PATC community in the chat. We're getting a lot of interest in. So with Jim Harbaugh, we dropped an episode. We also dropped an episode about 30 minutes before we came on live. Very interesting episode 357. So when this live show is over, go watch episode 357. Open to everybody. Talking about what door is Oregon State and Washington State going to choose? Door A or door B? Door A might cost them $100 million, $50 million each. Or to be exact, $50 million and $250,000 each. Door B costs them nothing. So why would you choose door A? Because it might be a better long-term play. If you're interested in that story, if you're interested, go to episode 357. It's open for everybody after the end of the live show. Derek Marie, Alabama plays to Colorado. Look, it's going to happen. Players are going to pop into that portal. They are. A lot of them will stay, but like the high school recruits, they can get out of their LOI, their letter of intent. They can get out of it. Those high school recruits, they're going to be popping in the portal. Now, obviously, most of the players are going to stay, but there's going to be some key players at Alabama who've been sort of like promised with, they know where they stand with Nick Saban. They're going to be that starting safety next year. They just got to pop in their NIL money. Those guys are going to stay, but there's going to be some guys out there who are going to say, well, this is my time. This is my time. I'm going to jump in the portal. Everybody can jump in the portal. 30-day window. There's going to be some really good football players going in that portal, and they're going to cause a stir, a frenzy. Going to be some big names, I think. I mean, you don't even know who your head coach is. Some of these young guys, they're going to be popping in. There's some going to go to Colorado. Mr. Marie, could be. Deion Sanders, could be sitting there going, Thank you, Derek Marie. I appreciate your generosity to the channel. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Is Nick going to retire from the A-Flac commercials? Oh my God! Yes, A-Flac. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. Landing quote: we have unfinished business here. I want to raise my kids here. I have everything we want at the University of Oregon. Tom Hollick. Lanning talks all the time about how hard moving has been on his family. He said he is loyal to Oregon for giving him a chance. A lot of Duck fans, it ain't going to happen. That's what they're saying in the chat. It's not going to happen. Lanning is ours. He's not going anywhere. Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. This is pretty cool. Look at this. 1980, Nick Saban replaced Pete Carroll as Ohio State secondary coach. Pete Carroll gets let go today, Seattle head coach. Nick Saban retires. Nick Saban, this is from the Columbus UPI 1980. Nick Saban, an assistant at West Virginia, has been picked up by Ohio State University head coach Earl Bruce to become the defensive secondary coach on the Buckeyes squad. Saban will replace Pete Carroll, who left Ohio State after the Rose Bowl game to become the defensive coordinator at North Carolina State. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. 44 years ago, 43, 44 years ago. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Okay. Ryan Brooks says the Duck fans are living near a river in Egypt called the Nile. How about DeBoer? Yeah, I think if Grubb and DeBoer is a dual combo, possibly. But like Immaculate and other people have said, DeBoer is, doesn't have much experience in the SEC. Doesn't have any experience in the SEC. Wow, cool find, Greg. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Caleb, yes, 30-day window to transfer. No penalty. Greg, look back at the Georgia game. Who does Kirby go shake hands with first? Not Saban. Caleb Downs, he's going to be a hot commodity. That's true. Portal City. ESPN is pushing Deion to Bama. Come on. They might be doing that, but they can't. Bama's not going to do that. There's no way. There is no way. No way. Mitch Sherman, Nebraska. Just when the portal had quieted down, it could be about to go wild. Players from Alabama and any other school that loses a head coach in the Saban dominoes will have 30 days to enter. Yeah, it's about to go crazy. Once again, the portal is about to go crazy. I think Michigan's offensive coordinator is going to wait to see if Jim Harbaugh leaves. Feinbaum is pushing Prime. I don't... Why? I mean, I know why. Because of TV ratings. But of all the coaches, nothing against Deion Sanders. Nothing against Deion Sanders. Did a good job at Colorado. That's basically what their ceiling was. 4-8. But this is Alabama. This is Alabama. Feinbaum. This is Alabama. They're going to have to pick pretty much the pick of the litter. Maybe they get turned down by a couple of their top targets. But they're going to get somebody who's got a long-term or at least short-term high success in the college football world. Somebody who can bring in a coaching staff. Somebody who's got recruiting chops. Somebody who has won. Somebody big time. Deion Sanders right now is big time for ratings. Done a good job at Colorado. Paul Feinbaum,
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
you are losing your mind. It's all about ratings for ESPN. Quality will bring you the ratings.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody?
This whole Richard L. Shedeur can't transfer again, Kenny. There is no restrictions on transferring right now. Anybody can transfer right now. Remember, we had that decision right for right now. Anybody can transfer as many times as they want. The Gophers had Logan Fife coming in from Fresno State, going to be quarterback number 2 for the Gophers next year. He came in and it triggered. He went to practices. He went to the bowl game practices. He went to the bowl game. Therefore, as a transfer to portal, he is with Minnesota. The transfer is complete. It's either you go to the practices or bowl game with the new school. He went to practices. Or the first day you attend classes at the university. Either one of those trigger that you have been fully transferred. A transfer player.
Call from
JD.
JD, can you hold on 1 second?
Yes, sir.
A transfer portal player, there is no signing of an LOI. Even when they sign some financial packages, that doesn't trigger it, the completion of the transfer. It's if you go to practices, if you're part of the team practices, or if you go and walk into that first class in the new semester, quarter, whatever they have at the university, that your transfer is completed. So Logan Fife, his transfer was completed. What did he do? 7 days later, he went back in the portal. It's another portal move because there is no limitations right now. None. So yeah, it's and then plus, yeah, if Deion Sanders leaves, and Shedeur Sanders can leave. So this portal thing is it's crazy. Hopefully we get some guardrails around that. But I don't think Deion Sanders can possibly be a candidate. However, Mr. Seminole just called. JD is on the line. The floor is his. And Pete Thamel from ESPN brought up Norvell as a possible candidate. JD, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm nervous for sure. I really am. Norvell is the biggest sleeper in college football as far as coaches. A lot of people really have not paid attention. See, Dan Lanning is from his tree. They both coached under Todd Graham for years, and then when Norvell got the Memphis job, he brought Lanning in. I mean, there was a chance when Norvell took over FSU that Lanning was going to come to FSU, but he went ahead and just stuck with Georgia because, obviously they were fixing to have 2 successful years and then a couple successful years, and then he would get his head coaching position. I mean, look at Kenny Dillingham. He's from the Norvell tree. Now he's at home. So Norvell, people don't really take into consideration he's one of the top 2 or 3 coordinators in the country. I mean, offensive play callers. I mean, do you think I'm overstating that? Because I don't think I am. He's high on the list. Plus, as detailed as he is as organized as he is, I mean, I'm going to sound like a total homer when I say this. If he had the same resources today as what Kirby and Saban has had, I think he's better. Mm-hmm. Now, that's just my opinion. But I think he's going to be one of the elite names
over the next couple of years. And that's how fond I am. Does he have areas he needs to grow in? Of course he does. Everybody does. But, man, I'm nervous right now because that snub, it's affected everybody. I know it's affected him.
Yeah. Oh, it had to. But if you keep Norvell, Florida State could be in the business of picking up possibly a player or two from Alabama in the transfer portal. JD, sure. I'm going to show a picture here. This is Shedeur Sanders' tweet. Two eye emojis. Alabama players tap in. In other words, he's advertising. Come on, Alabama players, come to Colorado with me and my father. There's a picture of him high-fiving his father. So Shedeur Sanders is interested in a couple of those Alabama players.
Well, we just got one transfer from Alabama, and we're possibly getting two more. We don't know for sure, but there's probably possibly two more transfers coming in from Alabama. We're doing well over the last week or so in the portal, and really picking up some good talent. So, and the good thing is, I don't know where we're going to be next year, but anyway, I'm gonna keep this off FSU, and kind of try to keep it on the coaching. But no, I mean, yeah, Dabo makes sense. It does. I think the best two of that list, and I can't take the Washington coach. He's done a great job. I can't discount him. I don't know how much of it's him, how much of it is the players, but at the same time, the coach develops the players. So you have to give him credit. So that's not me discounting him. I just don't know. I don't know how he compares to others. I just know what my coach has done and how quickly he turned that around. And with the players he has, I mean, look at him developing players. I mean, he brings Jermaine Johnson in, turns him into a first round, brings Jared Verse in. Now he's going to be a first round. I mean, when Norvell came in, Jordan Travis was behind Tate Rodemaker on the depth chart. You could look at Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson, nobody wanted him. Now he's going to be a high draft pick. He just develops players, especially players that'll buy into the work. And but Lanning, like I said, Lanning is right there. I mean, they're all from the same tree, and they all have the same work ethic, and they get after it. I mean, they get after it in everything, and high motor guys. So, but at the same time, I'm not sure you want to be the guy that's going to follow Nick Saban either.
Yeah.
Who do you lean? Who do you lean?
I'm going Lane Kiffin 1A, Dan Lanning 1B. So I've got Kiffin by just a narrow margin because he's been at Alabama. He succeeded at Alabama. He knows what it would take. He knows the players. He knows everybody associated with Alabama, the boosters, all these things going on. I think he's got to be, well, again, one of the things I don't know, JD, is I happen to think that Nick Saban, he's retiring, but I think he's going to have a big influence on who Alabama targets first. And I really think that relationship between Lane Kiffin and Saban was pretty warm at the end there. I really think it was like a father-son. There was some struggles, but they really got it together, won a national championship together. Kiffin was brilliant, developing those wide receivers, a quarterback, and everything. So I would think Kiffin is my number one, but I don't have any information, obviously. What do you think?
I think Kiffin is very, very possible. usually the names that we first hear on the list are the ones that the agents put out there to stir up the the universities that they can get their guys. So, but at the same time, the list that Thamel put out there, that's no offense to James Franklin, but I don't think he's in there. No offense to well, that's about the only one, because Marcus Freeman, I could see Marcus Freeman now. I could see Marcus Freeman. He seems like a very dialed-in coach. Like I said, I see Lanning, I see Norvell, I see Marcus Freeman. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of validity to what you're saying, is that Nick's going to have an opportunity to help select his replacement. It's not going to be Kirby, because Kirby's a Bulldog. I mean, even though he was at Bama, he's a Bulldog. He's not going to Bama. So if anybody suggests he's going over there, that's not happening. And then Dabo was on their, I believe he was on their 1992 national championship team. So he's an alumnus, so he's technically a Bama man. But I don't know. But I think it'll be one of those. I think Bama's gonna want a name, but they're also gonna want a person that they know that can do the job too. And so I think Lane Kiffin is very, very plausible. I really do. Just, I don't know. He sometimes seems like he gets distracted. You know, he'll have a stretch each season where he's not completely dialed in, and that was the times that Saban had an issue with Lane. It's just like for some reason he was just, I don't know, a little too gimmicky. He wasn't serious enough for Nick. I don't know, but maybe Lane's matured too. And I'm just kind of thinking about that whole thing. As you suggested it. But anyway, just stay away from Mike, man. Leave Mike alone. He's got work to do. Leave Mike Norvell alone for a while. If it's in 5 or 6 years, I'm hoping I'm not being Nostradamus, because 2 years ago on the message boards, I was like, I'm really nervous, because I knew his dialed in, as detailed, as organized, and as good of a play caller as Norvell was, and just how well thought of he is in the coaching community. If for some reason he didn't turn around quick enough where he got fired, I told people, I said, he'll go to Bama. He'll be the best OC that Saban ever had, maybe between him and Kiffin. And I said, and he'll be the heir apparent. I said, because he's one of the only ones that's so organized and detailed, he would impress Saban on the organization and detail. And I said, he'd been the heir apparent at Bama, and had a couple people look at me funny. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. And now his name's popping up. That's what got me nervous. All right, sir.
All right, man.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it,
Have a
Mr.
good
Seminole.
night. Have a good night. Thanks.
Great call. Start of the show, I was just trying to get my hands around this breaking news. Nick Saban, the greatest of all time, retiring. But now I'm gonna settle in on Lane Kiffin. That's our prediction here at Peek Around the Corner. What is yours? Helmer Henderson, if ESPN owns 100% of the ACC network.
Call from
Steve, can you hold on for a moment here? I got to get caught up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Bearcat. Helmer Henderson, if ESPN owns 100% of the ACC network, why did Florida State or any other ACC team sign an extension with the Gore? Because they got consideration back, right? They got the ACC network. It was built because they extended the grant of rights from 2026 to 2027 to 2036. But there are things in there, Mr. Henderson, that ESPN being able to walk away from the contract in 2027. Holy smokes. Phillips extending ESPN's window to make that decision from 2021 did it. Now they have the window to 2025. If they walk away from the contract in 2027, there's things there that I think Florida State has a pretty good case to be made. Thank you, Mr. Henderson, for your super chat. I appreciate your generosity so very much. Mr. Cameron B. Rock Chalk, thank you so much for becoming the newest member of the Early Peak Cloak and Dagger. Thank you so very much. You, sir, Cameron B. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, you are now officially Cloak and Dagger United. Thank you, Cameron B., for your generosity, for your membership. Appreciate it so very much. Steven, Mr. Bearcat, I appreciate your patience with me once again. The floor is yours. What do you got to say about this big breaking news? And B. Bean, I'm sorry. Steve, I'm sorry. B. Bean,
No
I
problem.
thought this was clickbait. Again, we don't do clickbait here at Peek Around the Corner. There's no clickbaiting here on this YouTube channel. Steve, go ahead. Floor is yours, sir.
Well, I can actually say I'm one of the callers that's old enough to remember when Saban was the head coach at Toledo.
And won the MAC championship.
Yeah. I can see why JD's nervous because Norvell would be my number one guy.
Ooh, interesting.
I think, and not that the others wouldn't, but I think he could hold that program together as well or better than anybody that's been mentioned. With the transfer portal, I don't think Norvell would be. I don't think their recruiting would fall off as bad with Norvell. I know Lanning's got SEC ties, this and that, but I just think Norvell. I just think he recruits the area anyhow that Alabama recruits, and I know recruiting's national, and I know the portal means a lot, but boy, I don't see Dabo being a real strong candidate for a lot of reasons. He played there, I get that. Marcus Freeman's a definite no, and I just don't think they're going to bring a guy who was at Ohio State, Cincinnati, and Notre Dame down to Tuscaloosa. I can't fathom that. He coached under Kelly, and he coached under Fickle, and then he left Cincinnati to go to Notre Dame, and Cincinnati went up there and promptly kicked Notre Dame around with Kelly and Freeman both on the other sideline. Kelly's a big enough snake; he would do it. He would go to Alabama. I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. And I got some animosity towards him for how he handled the thing at Cincinnati when he left. I don't blame him for going to Notre Dame, but I wouldn't trust that guy at all. I just got to believe Norvell's the guy. There's just something telling me.
Wow.
He took over a dumpster fire at Florida State. He really did. That program was just about in shambles.
Yes, it was.
It really was.
Yeah.
And you telling me that now you take and what he's done at Florida State, and now tell me that he can't go to Alabama and follow Nick Saban? Will he ever be Nick Saban? Nobody will ever be Nick Saban. But I think the easiest transition that I can see would be Norvell to Alabama. I don't know why I got myself convinced of that, but anyway, Greg, that's my 2 cents worth, my man.
You got it. I appreciate your phone call, sir. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Bye.
Excellent. Stephen Bearcat. I got it up on the screen here. Breaking news. Hayes Fawcett. From Hayes Fawcett. Breaking news. 5-star plus wide receiver Ryan Williams tells me he has decommitted from Alabama. The top 10 recruit in the 24 class. We're talking top 10. Not by position. Top 10 recruit will commit and sign in February when the next window opens up for the high school players for the signing period. The departure of Coach Saban and Wiggins played a major factor in his decision. Big time high school recruit, top 10, Ryan Williams has decommitted. So it's starting. It's absolutely starting.
Call from
ABO.
Soap is on the line. The floor is yours, good sir. What do you got to say?
Well, Greg, I had you heard prior to today any comments, any discussion about Saban possibly resigning?
Nobody talked to me about it, but I did see it on X last week. Some people were saying this could happen. I can't remember the name, but no, nobody that I talked to, and I talk to people every day, no one said this to me.
I just find it quite interesting, and that Saban would resign without any not necessarily fanfare, but I hope there's nothing wrong with his health, because it seemed rather quick and unprepared for this change. So I hope I'm wrong on that, because if I would have thought when Nick Saban left, he would have a retirement tour. It would be a whole year of everybody giving him rocking chairs and that type of thing, like they have with other coaches and so forth. That he would have made
Some don't want to do that, and plus it hurts the recruiting so much. If you say you only got 1 year left, you can't recruit for the next team, for the next coach. The athletic director doesn't want you to do that. Nobody wants you to do that. So that works in the professional leagues, but not in college.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I wonder, however, if the replacement, if this has been in place for a long time, if he said at the start of the year this was going to be his last year, if the replacement hasn't already been picked. If it takes them a while to choose his replacement, then that's going to signal to me that he just he let everybody. Nobody really had any idea he was going to do this, and but my big point for calling here, Greg, is that this is a different time. Now, this is the first real major hire in the portal era, and the question is not only going to be how good of a coach you are, but it's going to be when now, and who are you going to bring with you? And I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm going to use this as an example. I mean, let's say they went to Sark at University of Texas and said, we want you to be the coach at Alabama, and we want you to bring that Manning kid with you. That's unlikely, but it's a possibility in today's world. It could happen. So the question becomes not just how good of a coach are you, but who are you going to bring with you? That having been said, would you prefer to have the Mississippi team, the Florida State team, the Oregon team, or the Clemson team? The players from those teams on Alabama. Who would you prefer, Greg? Of those four.
Name them again.
Mississippi, Florida State, Oregon, or Clemson. Those are the four coaches I think that people are bantering around the most, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I've already, Lane Kiffin's my number one. So, Lanny's number two.
Based upon the players they would bring with them?
No. I mean, boy, I don't know. I don't really have a good. I mean, that's a great question. I don't have an answer. I don't have an opinion. That's
Okay.
tough.
Well, I'm stimulating thought here for the PATC community that it's not in today with opening in Alabama. It's not just can you recruit the 18-year-old kid? It's literally where are you coaching and who you bringing with you, because we expect you to win now.
Yeah, I mean, they do expect to win now. I know there's going to be a lot of. No, look, there's a 12-team playoff start next year, so these top line coaches, they're in these top line programs, their expectations have risen. They expect their fan base, boosters, administrators, athletic director. They're going to be expected to make the playoffs, right? You can say, we had a great year. Of course, we're not one of the top 4. But when it expands to 12, but I don't think Alabama's going to just hire a coach for the short-term pop of the 1 year. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that, but it's something that they have to take into consideration, because they're going to lose a large number of their players that were recruited by Saban. I mean, it tends me to think that if let's go back to Sark. Sark recruited Manning, and if Sark were to leave, he could take his players with him. He could take Manning with him. So it's not necessarily, anymore the player is tied to the university. The player can be tied to the coach. If that's the coach they like, if that's the guy that they recruited, and a coach goes out and he recruits an 18-year-old kid, hey, it doesn't matter where they're playing football at, as long as they're with that one coach. This could be a diametric change to the landscape of college football and how we look at player recruiting. It's recruiting with the coach, not necessarily the university per se.
Yeah. Good point.
I don't know. It's a very interesting concept of who are you going to bring with you? Because whoever, those 4 coaches or those 4 schools that we talked about, there are going to be players that decide to leave those schools. They can, because their coach is leaving. They can leave their school, get into the porthole, and go wherever they want. And if they want to go stay with the coach that recruited them, they can surely do that.
Yep. Great call.
Well, I appreciate it, Greg. You have a great week, and go Texans.
You got it. Thought-provoking call. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You got it. Outstanding. Holy smokes. Outstanding. This is what my live show tonight was going to be about, right here. Ross Dellinger, just a few minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, posted NCAA President Charlie Baker is about to deliver a speech to the administrators and other delegates gathered here at the NCAA convention in Phoenix. So we're going to be covering this tomorrow. There is a couple things I want to talk about coming out of this convention. We can't do it tonight. It's Nick Saban's night, the legend, the greatest head coach ever in college football, in my opinion. He's retiring. The ripple effects are going to be enormous. Enormous. We're going to hit tomorrow what happened in the convention today. We got some NIL information, nothing earth-shattering. The other part of the convention, talking about the unlimited educational benefits, that part that they were going to talk about today, I want to hit tomorrow on. But that was going to be the live show, but we got to be nimble here. Got to be nimble. Got to be quick on our feet here at Peek Around the Corner. We pushed everything aside. Bam! Nick Saban. T-Duck. Head coach odds. Dan Lanning, plus 300. Dabble Sweeney, plus 350. Mike Norvell, plus 450. James Franklin, plus 650. Lane Kiffin, plus 700. DeBoer, plus 1,500. Variable, 2,000. Those last two, I don't think is going to happen. But Dan Lanning, the favorite, Las Vegas. Here at Peek Around the Corner Sportsbook, that you can find it at the end of Keith Jackson Parkway. Take a right from Kurt Gowdy Avenue on the Keith Jackson Parkway. Go all the way down to the dead end. On the right side is the PATC Sportsbook. We're going to be listing Lane Kiffin at plus 150, Dan Lanning at plus 350, and that's the only two that we got on the board. Thank you for that information, T-Duck. Appreciate it. Illabuk, jeez. Saban is exciting as a pet rock at ESPN. I did see somebody say that maybe Saban will take over Lee Corso's spot, where he just makes a little bit of a couple sentences of prediction and then put the mascot over his head. Would Nick Saban take over for Lee Corso? I don't think so. I do not think so. That's what Michigan versus the World just said too. Yeah, that was a great call. Great call. Great call. Again, if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn your notifications on, because we can come on live at any time. I'm dropping episodes that are open for everybody almost every single day. We dropped a very interesting episode 357, about 30 minutes before we came on live. What door is Washington State and Oregon State going to choose? So after this live show, go to episode 357. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow. I guarantee you, on the live show tomorrow, we're going to be talking about Oregon State, Washington State, the decision that they're going to have to make. If you're interested, become an Early Peek member. Cloak and Dagger Early Peek. We drop episodes for Early Peek memberships only. This morning we dropped the Jim Harbaugh episode. If you're a member, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. If you want to become a member, hit the join button and join the $4.99 level. Don't join the $5.99 level, because that's going away. Join, hit the $4.99 level. If you want to join, hit the join button. And become a member today. But whatever you do, please smash the like button if you like our content. If you don't like our content, hit the thumbs down button and let me know in the chat or on X with a post. Let me know how we can better improve your experience here at Peek Around the Corner. $5.99 level is going away. Yeah, we're going to drop the price. The $4.99 level, Joe, you can be able to have the opportunity, if you want, to offer gift memberships for people in the PATC community, for them to get into the membership. So that's why we're doing it, Joe. So I appreciate your your generosity, Ryan Brooks's generosity, everybody else. But we're going to lower the price. So the earliest you can get out of that, Joe, go down to the $4.99 level. Do it. I appreciate it. Dave Chauncey. Lane has too many enemies at Bama. Lanning is ideal choice, but might be too expensive. Sounds like Norvell is next because he isn't expensive. Interesting comment. I don't really think the money is going to be the issue for Bama, but that is, that has to be in consideration. That's one of the variables that have to be pondered. But I think if Bama likes somebody, they're gonna go after him. If they have a number one bullet candidate, the buyout number I don't think is going to be, in my opinion, is going to be all that important. Holy smokes. Holy smoke. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Brett McMurphy, Action Network, first reported Nick Saban's retiring. Oregon's Dan Lanning is expected to be the top target to replace Nick Saban. Source told Action Network headquarters. According to Brett McMurphy, Dan Lanning is the top target. Alabama's odds for winning the championship next year has cratered. They were on January 9th plus 550. Now they're plus 1,000. So the money is going away from Alabama when it comes to who's going to win the national championship next year. Man, there's a lot of information I'm trying to get through here to give you guys. Reese Davis. Reese Davis. Reese Davis, ESPN. Dan Lanning, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell. Those are the names that Reese Davis says should be considered Nick Saban's successor at Alabama. Dan Lanning, Kalen DeBoer, Mike Norvell. Wow. What do you think of that, PATC community? The lines are open, 763-260-1333. Dave Chauncey's Andy Staples is reporting Dan Lanning. Then Norvell. I haven't seen any comment about Lane Kiffin. I haven't seen it yet. Great question, Joe. Great question. I haven't seen it. Dylan Gabriel to Bama if Lanning leaves. You know, this whole Kalen DeBoer and Grubb going to Alabama. You know, they don't. Sure, they bring in a real Rodgers, but, you know, they ran it back for this year with Michael Penix Jr. Is this a DeBoer Grubb to Alabama scenario? Jason Shear. Jason Shear, Arizona Wildcat Authority. The hot rumor is definitely Dan Lanning and close to done already. We shall see. And I don't think a buyout is going to be the issue here. So that's Jason Shear, Arizona Authority. What is your reaction to that, PATC community? I don't think the buyout's a big deal. This no fan is nervous, just being real. I don't blame you, Rod. I don't blame you. Field crew, dirt, Dr. Cheese. Lanning turned down the Texas A&M job earlier. Did he know Bama job was coming? Ooh. Interesting. Gary expects this to be done fast. Mr. Nittany Lion in the PATC community expects this to be done fast. Who does Oregon go after if it's Lanning? Who does Oregon go if it's Lanning? Great question. Uncle Phil getting out the night checkbook. Michigan versus the world saying adios Lanning. Who would Oregon go after? Jed Fish. Now, Lanning does have a bunch of guys he can bring to Alabama with him. Right? Ryan Brooks, Lanning is about to get a huge pay raise no matter what happens. Yep. Immaculate says, I may be changing my prediction to Lanning right now. My 1B, 1A Lane Kiffin, 1B Dan Lanning. Maybe I have to flip that around. Lincoln Riley to Bama, the biggest mistake in college football history. Boomer sooner. I don't think that's going to happen. Ted Evans, Greg, don't give them any ideas. I'm nervous as hell. If it's Lanning to Bama, hold on here. Hold on. Hold on. Now I screwed this up. I don't know. Alex Scrubb Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic is saying, I would start with Dan Lanning. He embodies where college football is today. So that's Nicole Auerbach's pick. Michigan versus the world. He's been at Oregon for 2 years, hasn't won a good game yet. I don't know. What would Dylan Gabriel do if Lanning left? Would he go to Bama? I think he would. Then what does Jalen Milroe do? Does he go to Miami? We're going to hang on a little bit longer here, guys, just in case. Just in case we've got something brewing here. Phone lines are open, 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. Yeah, I don't think Sarkisian... Texas has got everything they wanted now. They went into the SEC. They're going to get all that money. He's got Arch Manning waiting him back with Quinn Ewers. I think Sarkisian is just fine where he's at. That's my interpretation. Oregon fans now hate Auerbach. Anthony Carlson, college football is already looking different now. Looking for more reports. Yeah. Yeah, I was working on a completely different type of live show. It was going to be about the convention today. We're going to have to do that tomorrow. We had to be nimble. We had to be quick. And again, I started the show by saying this. Personally, first of all, Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach in the modern era and possibly ever. My mother, Maxine Roney Flugar, who's 90 years old, soon to be 91, in bed. I had to tell her that Nick Saban just retired. For those who know, you know. For those who don't know, my mother, who's lived in Minnesota her entire life, Irish woman. Her favorite team is Alabama. It's been Alabama forever. Why? She can't tell you why. It's just that's the way it is. Alabama is her team, not Minnesota, Alabama. And she loves Nick Saban. So I had to tell Maxine, so my mother lost her husband of 68 years. We buried him September. Now my mother just lost Nick Saban. I had to tell her that right before I came on live. She just shook her head. Just shook her head, and I said, Ma, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I will console you after the live show. So the impact of Nick Saban is felt all the way up in here in the north, in Minnesota. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm going to check for any more reports here. Wow. Okay, we're going to close it up. We've been on the air for quite a while. We're just going to have to wait and see if something happens tonight. Joe Z, Greg Rosenthal reports Dan Lanning seen arriving in Tuscaloosa to meet with Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne following the news that legendary coach, what? I don't know. I don't know about that. Anyways, we'll see. We'll find out. Tonight, tomorrow morning, when it happens, we will probably go on live once again here at Peek Around the Corner. So keep your head on a swivel. Before we all leave this live show, we've been on for, I believe, more than 2 hours. I want to thank everybody for your generous donations, the new members, the great phone calls, and the great comments. Thank you so very much. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, smash the like button. Big news. The greatest of all time, Nick Saban, has retired. And if we get some information about who's the next head coach, we'll come on live once again, whenever it happens, here at Peek Around the Corner. So keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you have your notifications turned on, because this is huge. Nick Saban, the ripple effect throughout college football is going to be massive. So we're going to stick with this story and every other story that's going on in the college football world. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.